The humid Texas air hung heavy, a profound stillness settled over Boca Chica. It was the quiet before a man-made thunder. Millions, scattered across our small world, held a collective breath. They watched screens, their faces illuminated by the glow of anticipation. A machine of impossible dreams stood poised. It waited for the command, for the spark, for the fire. This was more than metal. It was humanity's audacious reach, a grasp for the void, for the distant crimson speck of Mars. The countdown was not just to a launch but perhaps to a new era. Then consider this, a titan of steel and fire sculpted by relentless ambition. It was forged in the white-hot crucible of innovation, a testament to what we dare to imagine. Its singular, audacious purpose to leap from Earth's embrace, to carry our hopes, our dreams, our very future beyond the familiar blue. This was Starship's 9th trial, a formidable test of engineering and will. Destiny, it seemed, was not merely calling, it was thundering at the gates. The world watched, wondering if this time the giant would truly break its terrestrial chains and soar. Starbase itself, a sprawling outpost of futuristic endeavor, it lay on the very edge of the Gulf, a stark contrast to the natural wetlands. Here the hum of innovation was a constant symphony. Giant rockets, taller than any cathedral, rose against the sky. They were monuments to human ingenuity, to our unyielding desire to explore. This place was a laboratory, a factory, a dream forge. It was where the abstract equations of physics were hammered into tangible reality, a beacon of what could be, if we only dared enough. The 9th flight carried specific crucial objectives. It was never just about the spectacle of ascent, magnificent though that may be. This mission was a crucible for new systems, a stern examination. Could the colossal Super Heavy booster execute its complex return, to kiss the Earth gently? Could the Starship itself survive the inferno of Reentry, its new thermal tiles holding true? Data, raw and unfiltered, was the most precious payload. Every microsecond of telemetry, every sensor reading, a vital lesson learned. For the long journey, the ultimate destination, Mars. The final moments ticked away. A palpable tension gripped mission control, voices calm yet strained, confirmed readiness. Then, the sequence began. Ignition. A torrent of fire erupted from the base of the Super Heavy, 33 Raptor engines roaring in unison, a violent birth of immense power. The very ground trembled, a seismic announcement of intent. This was not merely a launch, it was an assault on gravity itself, a declaration that humanity would not be confined. The hold-down clamps released, and the journey began. Slowly, then with gathering speed, the behemoth ascended. It cleared the launch tower, a silver spear against the vast Texas sky. The initial climb was a spectacle of controlled fury. For those on the ground and for the millions watching, it was a moment of shared triumph. Yet this triumph was always tinged with the unknown. Space is an unforgiving frontier. Every ascent is a gamble, a dance on the knife edge of possibility and peril. The rocket climbed, a beacon of human aspiration punching through the atmosphere. Then came the critical moment: booster separation, the hot staging maneuver, a daring ballet of fire and precision. The Starship's upper stage engines ignited while still attached to the booster, an intricate high-risk procedure designed for utmost efficiency. For a breathtaking instant, both stages burned, connected by a ring of fire. Then cleanly they parted. The Super Heavy, its primary task complete, began its own journey back to Earth. The Starship, now alone, pressed onward, its sights set on the blackness above. The Starship continued its powerful climb. Its Raptor engines burned with fierce intensity, pushing it higher, faster. The mission profile called for a specific trajectory, a path that would test its systems to their limits. Engine cutoff occurred as planned, a sudden silence after the storm of thrust. The ship was now coasting, a silent voyager in the void. It had reached its preliminary apogee, a significant milestone. The team below breathed a little easier, but the most challenging phases were still to come. The quest for data continued. In the cold vacuum of space, the first unsettling whispers of trouble emerged. As Starship prepared for its next critical phase, anomalies began to register. Perhaps it was a sensor providing erratic readings or a guidance system not responding as expected. The attempt to simulate a payload deployment, a key test for future operational flights, did not proceed flawlessly. Small deviations, tiny errors can magnify into catastrophic failures in this unforgiving environment. Tension began to coil tightly within the hearts of those monitoring its progress. The Starship then began its fiery plunge back towards Earth. This was the ultimate test of its revolutionary thermal protection system. Thousands of hexagonal tiles designed to withstand unimaginable temperatures. As it hit the upper atmosphere, friction ignited the air around it into a searing plasma. The stress on the vehicle was immense, a battle against the very laws of physics. On the ground, engineers watched telemetry streams intently searching for any sign that the shield was faltering, that the ship was succumbing to the inferno. The descent was a dramatic silent scream through the sky. For a time, telemetry flowed, painting a picture of the starship's struggle. Then, communications became intermittent, patches of silence. Then, nothing. The screens in mission control, once alive with data, now showed only the last known parameters. The inevitable conclusion began to dawn. The starship, the magnificent machine of dreams, had been consumed, lost to the forces it dared to challenge. A somber quiet descended upon the room, the silence of a hope extinguished. Meanwhile, the Super Heavy booster was on its own perilous return. It had performed its boost-back burn, flipped, and was now descending towards its landing target. It fought against atmospheric forces, its grid fins working to maintain stability. The relight of its engines for the landing burn was the crucial final step, but something went awry. Perhaps an engine failed to ignite or control was lost in the final moments. Like its counterpart, the booster met a violent end, a plume of smoke marking its demise over the ocean. Despite the spectacle of destruction, the fire and the fury, this 9th test was far from a total failure. It was, in fact, a crucible of learning. Every component that failed, every system that underperformed yielded a torrent of invaluable data. This information, painstakingly analyzed, would become the bedrock of future improvements. The engineers at SpaceX knew this path. They understood that progress in rocketry is often written in fire and wreckage. Each flight, successful or not, pushes the boundaries of knowledge further. The lessons learned were immediate and profound. The performance of the Raptor engines, the stresses on the airframe during ascent and re-entry, the behavior of the thermal tiles under extreme heat, all were meticulously recorded until the final moments. The complexities of hot staging, the aerodynamics of the booster's return flight, these were not theoretical models, but real-world tests. This iterative process, this willingness to push hardware to its limits and learn from the breaking points, is the very essence of their rapid advancement in reusable rocketry. This relentless pursuit speaks volumes about human ambition. It is a mirror reflecting our deep-seated need to explore, to push beyond the horizon. The dream of a multi-planetary future, of human settlements on Mars, is a powerful motivator. It drives individuals to dedicate their lives to solving problems once deemed insurmountable. This spirit, the same spirit that launched wooden ships across uncharted oceans, now builds steel ships for the ocean of space. It is an unyielding drive to reach for something greater than ourselves. So what does this 9th flight, with its triumphs and its turmoil, tell us? It tells us that the path to the stars is paved with both brilliance and setbacks. It urges us to consider the future of space travel not as a distant fantasy, but as an approaching reality forged by such endeavors. The challenges remain immense, the risks undeniable. But the potential rewards, for science, for humanity, for the expansion of life itself, are beyond measure. The journey continues, fueled by the lessons of today, reaching for the promise of tomorrow.